Hello and welcome to ProtoMet's First Impressions, where I give my thoughts on the first episode of any new tokusatsu show. And today I'm going to be talking about the first episode of Power Rangers Dino Fury, which just debuted and is the Power Rangers adaptation of Kishiryou Sentai Ryu Soldier. First impressions? God, I hope it's better than Ryu Soldier. Ugh, that was a bad season. But I've been pleasantly surprised in the past. I mean, Ninja Steel ended up being a much better season than Ninja was, so I'm a little hopeful. Now, the first episode just kind of starts off at, I guess, BuzzFeed or something. I think it's called BuzzBox, but it's basically a video platform of some sort that I guess is similar to like YouTube and BuzzFeed if they were combined together. And we are introduced to an employee at BuzzBox, Amelia, who really wants to do a ghost story video, which is apparently frowned upon by her boss, who apparently worked over the weekend and is surprised that there even was a weekend. But she did that for an article or video or whatever. But Amelia, having already written a review of a makeup product that we get a glimpse of the video of in the episode, she gets the approval to do a factually accurate story on a nearby landmark. That's the word I was looking for. A nearby landmark called Dinohenge, which is, when we finally get there, I don't really want to call it a Stonehenge because it doesn't really look like a Stonehenge. It just looks like a circle of statues of prehistoric creatures, mostly dinosaurs. Probably figuring that's important, and you're right. But along the way, she decides to use her GoPro to film herself hunting for ghosts, and she thinks she catches one, except it's just a biker wearing a white parka, because I guess it was a bit damp. Fine. But this is when Amelia meets up with a boy named Ollie, who is biking through the forest in search of, well, Dinohenge, because his mother, an archaeologist, is there doing a survey. And Ollie and Amelia arrive at Dinohenge and meet up with Ollie's mother. Now, both of the characters have up to this point been kind of decently developed. We don't get a whole lot of their backstory, but that's kind of par for the course for Power Rangers. Usually, or really any tokusatsu, usually it's like later episodes that develop the characters, so I can't complain about character development, especially since these are actually pretty well done for this first episode. Basically, the whole gist of the dynamic between Amelia and Ollie is that they're two kind of opposing viewpoints. Amelia is in the area searching for ghosts, while Ollie is just there for a more scientific survey. So, supernatural versus factual science. And I'm assuming that the factual science will play into his role as the obvious Blue Ranger, because obviously he's going to become the Blue Ranger. It's pretty obvious. And that is really what the Sentai version of the Blue Ranger in that season was like, the more intellectual type. But while they're doing a drone scanning of the mysterious dinosaur carvings, the eyes of the dino carvings begin to glow in different colors, and it's a weird phenomenon that they don't quite understand. But thanks to the scan, Ollie's mother is able to discover that there is an entire secret chamber underneath Dinohenge. And that's when the park ranger, or forest ranger, shows up. I can't remember what his real name is, but Amelia refers to him as Ranger Buzzkill, which then Ollie's mother also uses as his name, only to then be corrected by the Ranger himself. So the joke is that Ollie's mother thought that Amelia was referring to the Ranger by his actual name instead of just a nickname she gave him. But since Amelia and I'm guessing Ollie and his mother aren't on the property with the proper permissions, Ollie's mother has to go take a chat with the Ranger while Ollie and Amelia are basically packing up the mom's equipment. And as while they're packing up the equipment, they encounter a purple armored knight. Void Knight, I think is what his name is eventually revealed, who is in the area and who opens up a passageway into the underground chamber in search of the power source of whatever was causing, I guess, the weird phenomena with the statues. So we're introduced to, of course, Void Knight, who is probably going to be one of the major villains of this season. Never mind, I was going to go somewhere, but that's spoiler territory for you, soldier, and I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. So, Amelia and Ollie kind of sneak down into the chamber after Void Knight, who is in search of a mysterious power source. They and Void Knight encounter a cyborg dinosaur. And I can't remember what the I can't remember what the cyborg dinosaur's name is, but it's clearly the assistant character for this season, the keeper from Dino Charge, if you will. The character who is clearly an assistant character, but who's always going to be in costume. Always. So, that's fine. That's fine. That's usual. We're used to that at this point. Interesting design. But, Void Knight is here in search of this mysterious power source, and, Ollie decides to make his presence known by grabbing one of the swords that's hanging from the wall and using it to defend the cyborg dinosaur from Void Knight, while Void Knight is trying to wake up some... Well, it's a Power Ranger. I mean, it's blatantly the Red Ranger of this season, in like a stasis pod or something. Cryosleep, whatever it's called. And as a result, both Ollie and Amelia end up getting roped into what's all going on. And what the cyborg dinosaur then does is toss to them this like key thing to telling Ollie to put it in the sword that he has in order to wake up the stone statues that are around the area, the henchmen, as they're called, which is a nice pun, I gotta admit. But unfortunately, Void Knight catches the key thing and puts it in his saber and awakens the henchman himself. I kind of like the fact that the grunt characters for this series were actually originally intended to be good guy characters. I like that. That is an interesting twist. But of course they were going to become villain characters, obviously. But it's thanks to the henchman having to fight against Ollie and Amelia, who ends up grabbing a sword herself in order to defend herself. It's while all this is going on, Void Knight finds the energy source that he was looking for, which are called spore eggs. Spore eggs, which are these like pulsating orbs that honestly kind of remind me of the X-Parasites from Metroid Fusion, in that they're rather amorphous and globby. It's a cool design. I like the design. It's done with some pretty good CGI. But unfortunately, Void Knight manages to grab hold of the chest containing these spore eggs. But it's during all this, the cyborg dinosaur does manage to wake up the Red Ranger. Zayok? I think his name is Zayok. I could be wrong. So the Red Ranger then fights against the Henchman and Void Knight. But unfortunately, he accidentally damages the chest that was containing the spore eggs during the whole kerfluffle, which means that the spore eggs have now gone. They're all free. They're gone. Oh no! What's going to happen? So outside, Void Knight manages to escape along with the spore eggs, leaving everybody down in the chamber. And Void Knight is actually present when one of these spore eggs hatches into the monster that's definitely going to be playing a role in next week's episode, obviously, because we got all the fighting done for the episode right now. So instead, the rest of the episode is basically a plot dump, basically. It's at this point that, back down in the chamber, the Red Ranger demorphs and is revealed to be an alien, Zeok, who has some telepathic abilities by touching people. And he's able to show that he can basically read the minds and personalities of people he touches. And I like the fact that initially Amelia and Ollie think that he's just doing it to show off, but then he reveals that no, he was doing it just to make sure that he could still do it. And then explains basically his and the cyborg dinosaurs and the spore eggs backstories. So, Zeok originally came from some distant planet that I don't recall the name of, that was attacked by the spore egg monsters, which, despite a valiant effort by Zeok and his knight allies, they fought a losing battle, and the spore eggs destroyed his homeworld. But he and his fellow knights traveled to the spore eggs' new target world, the planet Earth, and fought against the spore eggs alongside the dinosaurs as 65 million years ago. That's how long Zeok has been asleep. And that catches him by surprise when he wakes up and learns this fact. But he reveals that he and his knights fought against the spore eggs alongside the dinosaurs. And just when things seemed to be at their most bleakest, because the spore eggs were very powerful, suddenly a rift in time-space opens up, and out from the other side of this portal, the Morphin Grid, emerges the 6 Morphin Masters, who grant the Rangers powers, who grant the Knights powers, and basically empower the dinosaurs they've been fighting alongside, turning them into Zords. And I love the fact that they decided to include the Morphin Masters. That was a concept that, from my understanding, originated from the Boom Studio comics, which are still going on, specifically around the time of the Shattered Grid event. So I love the fact that an official TV series of Power Rangers is acknowledging a concept created in the comics. I loved that fact. Kind of wish that they had the whole morphing into other forms of the Rangers over the years like they did in the comics, but maybe there's some explanation for why they have more knightly forms in the comics that I just haven't read yet. I got a bit of catching up to do with the Boom Studio comics, but I definitely recommend checking those out. And basically now, in the modern day, they did with the help of the Power Ranger powers they had then, they were able to capture all the spore eggs and keep them contained in a chest. But now they've been unleashed, and so now along with Ollie and Amelia, they gotta fight against the Rangers. And at one point during the whole fight against the henchmen, the cyborg dinosaur did give Amelia and Ollie their transformation key devices to allow them to transform into the blue and pink Rangers, respectively, because obviously they were going to turn into Rangers. I kind of glossed over that because the fight is a beautiful mess. It is a fantastic action scene, but it is a bit busy in a good way. So that concludes the first episode of Dino Fury. I'm pretty looking forward to checking out more of this season. I kind of wish that I had watched the rest of the last series, Beast Morphers, but I wasn't able to for personal reasons. It's definitely something I want to get back to. And Dino Fury, I'm going to try my best to keep watching the new episodes. I was only able to watch this first episode due to special circumstances, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to repeat those circumstances. But it is definitely a show that I want to keep watching, and hope that it doesn't become an absolute horror show like Ryu Soldier ended up being. I'm really hoping that that's not going to be the case, but only time will tell if that'll be the case. But lately, Power Rangers had been kind of doing a pretty darn good job of being pretty well written. So, again, I can't really speak for all of Beast Morphers, but that's because I wasn't able to watch the entire series for personal reasons. But definitely give the first episode of Dino Fury a check out. It's pretty darn good. Sorry. And until next time, this has been me, ProtoMet. See ya.